So let's get started by taking a look at some of the best practices for writing code for Lambda functions. Oftentimes when developers get started with AWS Lambda, they use the management console to write their first functions. However, when you start developing production applications, it's important to move away from that initial experimental kind of phase and start using standard application development tools and practices that you're used to. One of the most important lessons to take away from this is that all of the best practices that you've learned about software development still apply when it comes to developing serverless applications. You should still be writing good quality object-oriented code and build and deploy your applications using standard industry practices. So let's talk a little bit about how you might organize the code within your Lambda function. Every Lambda function has a handler method. You can think of a handler method like a main method in a Java application. And remember that when you're building Lambda functions, just like it doesn't make sense to include all of the business logic and all of the code for your application into a single main method, you should also be splitting up the functionality of your Lambda functions into multiple classes and functions that are called then from that primary entry point. A typical layout for a Lambda function might look something like this, where we divide the functionality into multiple layers. It starts with the handler function that we just talked about, where you would set up your function configuration. Any of the Lambda-specific code needed to integrate with the Lambda runtime should go here, but you shouldn't include any of the actual business logic for the function in the entry point itself. Instead, you would put that business logic into a controller class that's responsible for handling the actual event itself and doing all of the business-specific functionality for that particular method. Finally, service classes can be used to abstract away any external services that your function needs to interface with and provide business interfaces into those external services.